Today we take for granted the role the train played during the Industrial Revolution. After all, it was the workhorse of that era. Take for example the gold rush. When gold was discovered in the West, they needed some way of moving it, and these very tracks played an important role in the logistics of moving the gold out. Today we are going to visit the Yellow Jacket Mine, home of one of the deadliest accidents during the gold rush era, and is also one of the coolest places to explore in the amazing state of Nevada. Come with me as I see what kind of trouble I can get into in this episode of The Planet Traveler. Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting video. Today's video is for anybody who is into urban exploration. If you're into urban exploration, this is the video for you. Having said that, I'm not in any kind of urban development. I'm actually in a rural area, so we will actually call that, for today's purpose, rural exploration. But it's still pretty cool. Today we are going to actually check out a mine. Now, before we go any further with this video, let me just throw out the disclaimer that exploring mines are dangerous. Having said that, nobody ever listens, present company included. I know mines are dangerous, but I've always wanted to explore one, so I took as much precaution as I could, and boy, am I ever glad I did, because it's phenomenal. It's something that I've never seen before, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's go check it out. At the peak of the gold rush, Gold Hill boasted a population of 8,000 people during the 1800s. The Yellow Jacket Mine cranked out just as much gold as its neighbor to the northeast, Virginia City. The only difference was, the Yellow Jacket Mine took out a crapload of miners in the worst accident ever to happen in the state of Nevada. The gold rush pretty much came to an end in 1900, and Gold Hill's population began to thin. The city is only a fraction of what it was back then, and only a few original buildings still remain. The building you see now is one of the few remaining, and it seemed like an appropriate place to begin my journey. This is the Gold Hill train station. This is where many of the people who ventured west received their introduction to the town. I tried to see if I could go inside for a good look, but the building was closed. The best I could do was peek through its windows. A lot of the furniture inside looked original. After it became apparent that I wasn't getting inside, I decided to move on to bigger and better things. This was the local train station at Gold Hill. I imagine once the Silver Rush kind of busted, that's why the city died and people stopped coming here. But this train still operates, I'm told, through here. You can ride it from here to Virginia City. Although, in light of the recent events going on right now, I'm not sure if it's presently operating, but I'm told you can take the train from here to Virginia City. The train station was nice, but it was not my purpose for being here. The main attraction was located behind the station, and behind this tree that masked the infamous Yellow Jacket Mine. The train tracks led the way to a massive pile of wood protruding from the ground. The mine is in stark contrast with the sky, looking like a giant playground slide off in the distance. And by the way, If you are enjoying this content and would like to see more just like it, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos. So I made my way to the Yellow Jacket mine. As I walked, I thought to myself how shocked I was that there was nobody else out here exploring this incredible piece of history. It seemed like such a waste. Walking up towards the mine, I encountered this chain, and for some stupid reason, I have a fascination when it comes to ropes and chains. I'm about to explain.
You know, anytime there's a chain or a rope, I never pass up an opportunity to try to walk on it. It's something I used to do when I was a kid back in the day. I was kind of a nerdy kid, but my balance sucked now, but I'm still going to see if I can do it. Wish me luck. I got my camera woman over here, so if I hurt myself, I'm sure she'll happily call the ambulance for me. But hopefully we won't need that. This chain's kind of squirrely. My leg is shaking. Gotta steady it. Look at that, nice. All right, that was a nice brief second of entertainment, but I didn't come here to walk on a tightrope. I came here to explore that mine, so let's go.
The surrounding scenery in Gold Hill is stunning. They've done an incredible job of mixing the old with the new. A moment later, I was at the Yellow Jacket mine. First impression of this place? The word rickety comes to mind. Once a cash cow, this place is now a haven for two things: splinters and pigeons. I mean, I don't know which one is worse. Although, I think I'm going to go with pigeons. As I mentioned before, this place was home of one of the deadliest mining accidents in the state. 35 men lost their lives here. Some of the bodies were never recovered. The cause of the disaster was due to a fire in the mine. They believed the fire was set off by a candle or a lantern. I took a moment to examine the hardware they used to haul out the ore. I could tell that they spared no expense when it came to equipment. Take this contraption here. It looked like a serious piece of machinery for back in the day.
It smells horrible in here. I think this goes without saying, but if you come to this meal, or any meal for that matter, make sure you exercise caution, because there's inherent dangers, this being one of them. If you get cut on this, probably need a tetanus shot. So definitely don't want to get cut by anything in here, because this stuff is rusty and is nasty.
So the shack I was in facilitated the extraction of the ore out of the mine. The ore came out of this shaft. Once the ore reached the top of the shaft, it would slide down the chute where it would be loaded onto the train. And that was pretty much it for touring the Yellow Jacket mine. But I wasn't done yet. I still wanted to see more, so I hiked up to higher ground to see if there were any other buildings to explore. And that's when I discovered that there was still plenty more to see at this historical site.
Off in the distance was yet another mine calling my name. It was a far bigger facility than Yellow Jacket, so you know I had to go over there and check it out. At the time, I didn't know the name of the mill, but I later learned that the facility I was headed to was called the Crown Point Mill.
Man, are you guys getting this? Look at that. Does that look dodgy or what? Man, that's just calling my name to go up there. I gotta go check that out. I'm gonna do it right now.
Without delay, I made tracks towards the mill. I was eager to see what was inside the sketchy looking building. I don't know much about this mill, but what I can tell you is this. The mill was built in 1935, and it's an expansive 15,000 square foot complex of buildings. They were built alongside the hill in order to take advantage of gravity so it could assist with the processing of the ore. The downed barbed wire served as a reminder that I would be entering a potentially hazardous facility. But like many others that came before me, it failed to serve as a deterrent. As I approached the entrance, I took a moment to assess the situation. The structure I was about to enter appeared to primarily consist of rotted wood that was well over a century years old. Was it worth potentially risking my life for the sake of exploration? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Look how dodgy this thing is. See that? Looks dangerous.
I decided that the best approach to entering this structure was to slide my butt across the platform. I was concerned that the wood might snap if I stepped on it outright. I later paid the price for doing that, but I'll get to that later. I immediately felt like I stepped back in time as I climbed into the building. I gravitated towards the conveyor belt that they used to process the ore. I began to speculate if this dirt was here when they powered down this facility for the last time. It made me wonder what type of work was performed here at this station. And whoever worked here was probably happy to do so because they had a great view as they performed their task. At that moment, I realized that my mind was drifting and I began to focus on the task at hand, not falling through the floor. I was very concerned that the floor might give in. You could definitely see the ground between each plank. In these kind of situations, you can never be too cautious.
Man, this conveyor belt, this thing is rigid. Who knows how old it is, but it looks like it's ready to snap. This thing has definitely seen better days.
Finally, I got to the sketchiest part of the building. This portion had to be at least 50 feet off the ground, and the only thing that was keeping me from falling to the lower level were some rickety ass boards. And to make things worse, some of the boards were missing. Nevertheless, I didn't let that stop me from exploring this area. Moving on to the last portion of this tri-level complex, I went to the upper portion of the conveyor belt system to see the ore process on a more granular level. This system had to be impressive back in the day. As I was about to wrap up my day exploring this mine, I received some words of encouragement in regards to exploring dangerous places. It was summed up best with this sticker.
Man, hands down, this mine is freaking dangerous. The plywood is so rotted. I had to watch where I step because I'm afraid that it'll break and I'll fall through. And this is definitely not the place to get hurt. But I'm glad I explored it. It was it's pretty awesome. But if you do decide to explore something like this, make sure that you bring a buddy.
Listen closely as I make my way out of this structure. As I mentioned earlier, I paid the price for exploring this mine. Did you hear that? Yep, that was the sound of my pants being shredded by a rogue nail.
Man, that was freaking amazing. Now that I have done that, I can truly say that mines are truly dangerous. There were a couple times where it felt kind of sketchy. Honestly, I don't know if I'd do that again, but I'm glad I did. You know, one thing you have to keep in mind when you go to mines are there are known knowns and there are known unknowns. But you also got to keep in mind that there are also unknown unknowns. What does that mean? I have no idea. You know, there's some inherent dangers if you come and explore a mine. But if that's what you're into, exploring, and you like the thrill of some inherent danger, you definitely got to do this. It'll be worth your while. Good job.